As I'm sure was the case for many of you, I watched Game of Thrones before I read A Song of Ice and Fire. I wish the opposite were true. I wish many surprises from the core text could have been preserved for me, but they really weren't. In addition to watching the show, I watched some videos before I had read the books in 2016, but one crucial surprise floored me on my first read, and I did not see it coming whatsoever because I had managed to avoid it in its entirety. Come the epilogue chapter of A Storm of Swords, I was shocked to be in this fray perspective and suddenly learn that Catelyn Stark was alive. Or was she? This individual brought back from death, Lady Stoneheart, the hangwoman, this vengeful ghost, meaning to get her revenge on the Lannisters and Freys, was something that entirely captivated my imagination, and I just wanted to see more of in the future of the series. Lady Stoneheart only appears in one subsequent chapter after the epilogue of A Storm of Swords. Near the end of Brienne's story in A Feast for Crows, she finds herself captured by the Brotherhood Without Banners and hanged at Stoneheart's bequest, as she is believed to be working for the Lannisters because of her sword and because she was not killed by them in King's Landing. And she technically is working for the Lannisters, though she is not trying to kill Catelyn's daughter or anyone loyal to the Starks. It seems as though Stoneheart is going to have a crucial role to play in the Winds of Winter, with her being very involved in Jaime and Brienne's stories. But today, I want to discuss something that I thought of way back in 2016. I want to assess my teenage ideas, because back then, I thought it would be the coolest thing ever to have a Lady Stoneheart viewpoint chapter in the Winds of Winter, and now I really disagree with that thought. To briefly summarize High School Quinn's reasoning on this issue, come on, guys. It would be so cool. Please do this, Mr. Martin. Beyond that, Catelyn is just a viewpoint character that I love and have always loved. She's in my top 5 viewpoint characters, and one of the main reasons she isn't number 1 or number 2 is the fact that I generally prefer the chapter style from A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons over the earlier parts of the series where Catelyn is a viewpoint, so that kind of holds her back a little bit. But I do think she is an incredibly well-realized character, one of the best viewpoints we have in the entire series, and doesn't it seem like a slam dunk to just give her more chapters in the future since she is alive and back from the dead, and this could be a way to bridge the gap between the old style and the new style with this old reborn viewpoint. But as I said, I disagree with my high school self on many issues, and this is one of them. While Catelyn Stark was an incredible viewpoint character for the books in which she appears, Catelyn Stark is dead. Lady Stoneheart is alive, but Catelyn Stark is dead. It's very important to realize that these are two very distinct characters. I think if we could be in Catelyn's head again, we would be, but we can't because Stoneheart has washed away all of the parts of her that made her Catelyn. We see her fully kind of go mad with grief in her final moments, and this flame that has returned her to life has not returned any of the positive elements of Catelyn to life, and I think that very much kind of prevents her from taking up that mantle once again. More importantly to me, I think that Catelyn's viewpoint is so compelling because she is such a key view on the War of the Five Kings. Martin has often said, "Oh, I wish I could go back and make Robb Stark a viewpoint." I disagree with that entirely. I love Robb. He's one of my favorite characters in the first few books, but being in Catelyn's head for those books is such a genius move on Martin's behalf because it allows us to have this sense of encroaching doom about this entire conflict. And the key to Robb and his story and his arc is that he's making these mistakes that ultimately build and construct the Red Wedding around him. Us as Catelyn have to watch him make these mistakes. If we were in Robb's head, he would feel like he's in control of these events, of this war. He could fix things. He could make things right. He could win the war. But from Catelyn's perspective, we know it's doomed. We can feel things slipping away. We can feel that Robb is beginning to lose his grip and things are beginning to get very bad and ultimately resulting in this terrible event. This outside perspective is what allows us to feel that dread at the Red Wedding and for Robb's fate. I also want to ask, if you could add a single viewpoint character to the Winds of Winter, who would it be? Let me know in the comments while you're down there. Leave a like, subscribe. Also, YouTube has a new system that might be down there if you're on mobile called hyping a video. I have no clue how that works, but maybe try it. I really don't know. Martin's key to all Viewpoint characters is that they are all human. They all feel like real people, regardless of if they're a cartoon character like Victorian Greyjoy, or if they only have one chapter like Sir Aerys Oakheart. They have wants, desires, needs, feelings, most importantly. And as far as we can tell, Stoneheart really doesn't have any of those. She needs vengeance, it seems, but beyond that, there's really nothing else going on in the emotional realm. And this makes sense. We hear from Beric that things are lost when someone comes back from the dead, and I think that that is very much carried through with Catelyn, as most of her is lost. She was dead for 3 days before she rose, which very good move. I think she kind of stole from Jesus, but regardless of that, I think that Catelyn is lost and she can't have any more chapters. With that said, I do also think Cat having no more chapters complicates the John of it all, as he is our other Viewpoint character coming back from the dead. I do think there's a pretty strong chance that John will have chapters in the future of the series. He is such a core character, and being in his head is so unique, as he's someone who's very brooding and often has this internal monologue that gives us insight into things that are going on that we aren't necessarily seeing. But with Catelyn having essentially the same thing, dying and then coming back, especially with significant delay, which is also likely in the case of Jon Snow, I think Martin's going to need to do some pretty clear magic, just kind of compare and contrast between these two situations, and why Jon is returning as a Viewpoint and why Stoneheart does not have that capability. I also think that Catelyn's narrative role has shifted to a degree that no longer allows her to be a Viewpoint. Not only is she now a pretty large antagonist, if not a main antagonist in the story of Jaime and Brienne, she might also have too many secrets and spoilers to be back in her head, as was the case with like Varys and Littlefinger not becoming Viewpoints, as she knows things like who Robb named in his will, and maybe some insights into certain northern conspiracies at this point. So overall, I think there's a lot working against Cat becoming a Viewpoint again. I could see maybe one more chapter if like she were to like go out in some blaze of glory without a Viewpoint character near her, but I still don't think that's likely at all, as I do think that Arya is likely to be the one to kill her, and we'll probably see those events from Arya's already established perspective. Of course, this is all discounting the fact that Catelyn Stark has been the most evil person on Earth the entire time, and nothing has changed with Lady Stoneheart. I'm completely kidding. If you believe that, there is no hope for you. Truly. Oh my god. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and stay tuned. My favorite theory I have ever come up with is coming out probably this Saturday or Sunday, and you will not want to miss it. I think I have hit on something that no one has ever talked about before, and I am so excited to share with all of you, because I genuinely think it really alters the way I am looking at a massive portion of this story. Oh my god, I'm so excited to share with all of you, but if I say anything more, I will spoil it, and I don't want it to get out ahead of time, so just stay tuned, like, subscribe, many more videos. Goodbye.